Welcome students to part 2 of the lesson Introduction to Economics. In part 1 we have learned what is economics, some common terms used in economics. We have also learned the definition of economics and the three types of economies, namely capitalistic economy, socialistic economy and mixed economy. So let us proceed with part 2 of this lesson. Students, open your geography textbooks to page number 65. Factors affecting an economy. In this picture, they have given you the different factors that affect an economy of a particular country, namely occupation. Now, in occupations, they have given us different occupations here as farming, teaching, a person working in a factory. They have also given us population. Yes, population also plays a very important role as far as the economy of a country is concerned. Geographical area and natural resources. They play a very important role as far as the economy of the country is concerned. The political sovereignty also of a country plays an important role as far as the economy is concerned. Adam Smith is known as the father of economics. In his book Wealth of Nations, published in 1776, he has defined economics as the science of wealth. By science, he means here managing things systematically, and wealth is money. So, invariably, he says that economics is management of money, and hence he defines economics as the science of wealth. Now, economics is an important social subject. We use economics on a large scale in agriculture, trade, finance, administration, law, and in our daily life. Economics holds a paramount importance in the social development of humans. Paramount here means very important. So, economics holds a very important place as far as the social development of humans are concerned. Globalization of economy. The recent economic policies are taking the economy towards globalization. Globalization means building a world economy. Now, what do we understand by this word world economy? Now, take for example brands like Coca Cola, Apple, and McDonald's. They are known as global brands because these products are not only available in their particular country but they are available worldwide. So, globalization means building a world economy. So, producing products which not only benefits your country but also it benefits the other countries of the world. Now, world economy is a borderless economy in which natural resources, profit, services, capital, labor, and technology flow freely across the borders of country. Now, what do you understand by the word borderless economy? It says that there are no restrictions that are placed. Now, for example, if a person is very knowledgeable and talented in a particular field, he can go to some other country where they will pay him a good amount of income to work. So nobody can stop him and tell him that you only need to work in India but you cannot go abroad. Same applies to the natural resources, the services, the capital, and the technology that is available in a particular country. Globalization means aligning the country's economy with the world economy. Now, aligning means joining or linking. You have to be connected to the world. A country cannot say that it stands alone and it does not require any help for production purpose from any other country. There is free trade and all restrictions on investments are set aside, which means that if McDonald's wants to set up its company in India, nobody can restrict it from setting up its company in our country, India, as long as McDonald's follows the rules and regulations of our country. The functions of an economy: deciding the product and quantity of its production. Now, for example, you are a businessman. You have the required capital or money to start a business. Now, you will have to think what you will produce. Now, in order to understand what you will produce, you will definitely see what is more in demand. And you will start producing that product which is demanded more by the people of that particular state or country. Now, for example, few months back, we were not producing gloves, we were not producing masks. But today, there is a lot of demand for gloves, masks, and sanitizers. Given the current pandemic situation all over the world, there is a requirement for this product. Now, I have to decide the quantity that I have to produce. Now, if I manufacture the product for my country only, then I know how much to produce. But if I have to sell my product worldwide, then my quantity will be huge. So, first I have to decide the product, and then I have to decide the quantity which I have to produce and sell. Whether I will sell this product in my country or whether I am going to sell it in the other parts of the world as well. The next function that we see here is minimizing the production cost as much as possible. This is also a very important function of an economy. Now, if I am producing or manufacturing a product which costs me rupees 10 and I decide to sell it at rupees 15, so my profit here is rupees 5. But if I have to increase my profit margin, then what do? I have two options. Either I increase the selling price of the product or I reduce the cost of the product. So let me take the first scenario. Now, if the cost of the product remains the same as 10 rupees, but I now increase the selling price to rupees 20. Earlier, I was selling the product for 15. Now I am selling the product at rupees 20. So I make a profit of 10 rupees. Earlier, I made a profit of 5. Now by increasing the price of the product, I am making a profit of rupees 10. But what happens in this scenario? I end up losing customers. Very few people will buy my product. Why? Because the cost of my product has become more. Now let's take the second scenario. Now if I reduce the cost of my product from rupees 10 to rupees 8 and I keep the selling price as the same, that is 15 rupees. Now you will notice that I have made a profit of rupees 7 here without losing my customers. So I need to minimize the production cost as much as possible to make maximum profit. Now, distribution of national income according to social and economic justice. Students, it should not be that in a country the rich become richer and richer and the poor become poorer and poorer. There has to be economic justice. Everyone should get development opportunities to grow. Making appropriate provisions for the economic needs of the country in future. Now, whatever are the economic needs of the future, I need to start making provisions for the same right now. Now, deciding for whom the product will be produced. Now, the goods that I'm producing, who am I producing it for? For example, if I am producing an air conditioner, then all will not be able to buy the air conditioner. So I'm producing the air conditioner only for the upper class of people. But if I am making biscuits, or if I am producing biscuits, for example, Parle-G, it which is available at a very low price everywhere, everyone will be able to buy it. So I have to decide for whom I am making the product, for masses or for classes. Masses means for everyone and classes means for a particular section of society. So deciding for whom the goods will be produced is also a very important function of an economy. So, students, thus an economy strives to create a balance between limited resources and unlimited needs. Now, this is a diagram showing the size of the world economy shown in trillion dollars. Now, if you see here, United States is has one of the biggest economy in the world. Now it has $19.39 trillion of the world economy, which amounts to 24.4% of the world economy. And the second person here we see is China with $12.24 trillion of the world economy, amounting to 15.4% of the entire world economy. And we have India with $2.6 trillion of the world economy, which amounts to 3.27% of the world economy. So children, with this we come to the end of this lesson. For your homework, you need to read the entire lesson once again. Notes of this lesson will be sent to you next week, which you will have to write in your 200 pages long book. Thank you.